This is Philadelphia, where the no-nonsense ideals of these great sports fans are unmistakable. Well-versed, the Philly faithful, that sometimes the best offense is in fact a good defense, and field position the utmost importance as we head to halftime at the PGA Championship. Taking a look at your leaderboard, where Alex Smalley and Maverick McNealy, your leaders by one, but Philly knows traffic just as well. 44 players within 5 shots. Another major examination Friday with the field average playing more than 2.5 shots over par. Another dynamic day here in suburban Philadelphia, where Four Seasons is more than just a place to lay your head. Morning chill turned to wind, the sun then broke and left us with 82 on the right side of this cut line. And with that, we say welcome into Scorecard, presented by Zyrtec, the official allergy relief of the PGA Tour. Joe Musso, pleased to be alongside my team. Hallie Ledbetter, Roger Steele, Johnson Wagner, and the Wanamaker making a debut as well here on Scorecard. It's great to be with you all here as we break down the first 36 and more specifically these last 18. We did it a day ago, and Hallie, I'll begin with you. Your headline coming out of Friday is what?
Honestly, just the exasperation that these players felt from walking off 18. I got to spend some time interviewing them after their rounds, and the windburn that their faces were just like, oh, I'm so glad that I'm off that golf course. It is a true test out there, Joe.
Yeah, this is the most U.S. Open feeling PGA Championship I have ever seen. And I just want to give kudos to Rahm. You know, I want to give kudos to the PGA of America. You have truly presented a formidable test against some of the best players in the world. There was a lot of doubt coming in about, you know, scoring and how low the players were going to go. And the versatility that this place is showing, you have a truly one-of-a-kind venue here.
Which is why I think we have so many different type of players in the mix. It shows how wonderful this test is. And like you, Hallie, I was walking over to the chipping green a couple hours ago, and Ryan Gerard, good friend from North Carolina, I said, how's it going? And he just had this look on his face, and he said, this place is demanding. and it's amazing. Like, you saw Rory exhale multiple times after making a 3 or 4-5 footer for par. It's like what it asks of you every single hole on these greens. And I asked Ryan then, I said, well, he actually just offered it up. He said, I didn't think 4 under par would be leading this championship right now. And I think, to your point, Roger, we're all shocked at that.
Yeah, demanding an appropriate word, and some have met those demands more than others, and none more than our two leaders at the top, Alex Smalley and Maverick McNealy, as we take a look at some of the highlights from their day. I know, Roger, you asked a great question to Johnson before we came on air. Are we at all surprised, or Hallie, excuse me, that was you asking that question. Are we at all surprised that these are the two names we currently have at the top of that leaderboard, Johnson? Tell me why you're not.
Well, Alex Smalley, for one, he's been playing great golf this year. He's only missed one cut, and when you look at his last 4 tournaments, his highest finish is a T17, highlighted by that T2 at the Zurich Classic. So Smalley's playing great golf. He's played his way into all the signature events so far this year, so I'm not surprised. He's got a great skill set, hits the ball plenty long, and he's been rolling his rock.
Roger, there's a little bit of a no better factor to these two at the top. You made a great point about the maybe unencumbered approach that these two types of players and others near the top of this leaderboard can bring to a moment as big as this one.
Yeah, I think that there were a lot of seasoned players that brought a lot of expectations to a PGA Championship about what they thought they were going to encounter, and they were met with frustration when the Rahm looked a lot different. And so you see a lot of players that don't quite have the scar tissue and the trauma stepping up and handling business. And
I mean, I hate that, Raj, I can't cut you off, but the hardest working man in golf, Shane Bacon, has more jobs than shots have been offered on this golf course this week. He's heading over to our scorecard set in the Bacon Mobile, if I may, and we got eyes on him. So good to know that Shane Bacon is en route. He's going to be joining the show here shortly. You know, we like to have as much fun as anything else here on Scorecard. I guess fun is in the eye of the beholder. You detailed the test. How have these two passed that test in your eyes?
I mean, I think it's kind of what Johnson said. All of these guys have different things that are helping them pass this test. I mean, you look at a McNealy who game is just so strong from tee to green, but then you've got Smalley who is leading in strokes gained putting. So there are different things that are helping these players stay at the top of the leaderboard, but just a matter of who can stay there with these big names that have so much experience on these big stages when they're just right behind them.
And that's just the problem for those at the top. Objects in mirror are bigger than they appear, and how could you be any bigger than world #1 Scottie Scheffler? As we take a look at some of the highlights from Scottie's round 2, Scheffler faced with the worst of the weather throughout these 18 holes, wind blowing as hard as it did all day in the morning. Scheffler a part of that late early wave, and here we pick up the world number one who driver, an issue on and off throughout this season, and spraying that one early, and then we pick him up at number 13. Scheffler trying to keep things together here, as it was 3 bogeys in his first 4 holes. A bit befuddled, and we'll hear from Scheffler throughout the show. He called these some of the hardest pin locations, Johnson, that he's ever seen. U.S. Open, PGA Championship, Chick Evans, you call it. This is as tough as it gets, according to Scottie Scheffler.
Well, it's the green complexes themselves. They're not like massive Augusta-type slopes. They've got all these little humps and bumps, and he had a great quote that he felt like the pin on 14 was on the top of a little microphone, that it was crowned and could go any direction.
But Raj, as good as anybody in the world is holding on to the rope when it's going the wrong way, getting it back on the rails, and cobbling together an extremely respectable round in the late stages.
Yeah, for sure. And then I'm looking at, he birdied 3 out of his bogey 3 out of his first 4, and the rough was a little bit thicker. I saw players miss those fairways, and they still managed to get it on the greens. But he got a tough draw with the early tee time today. I am not worried about Scottie Scheffler as we continue this championship.
Would end up carting a circle heading to the weekend as Scheffler plays the front 9 second. 9 has presented itself as an opportunity, that par 5 up the hill. It is a 2 under mark at the turn following a 1 over round for Scottie Scheffler in his second round. But I will offer this as we bring it back on cam here in our Scorecard studios, Johnson. Secretariat did not break for the line until the halfway mark at the Belmont Stakes, and I don't know if I want to engrave that thing, but it feels like the biggest horse in this field is primed to make that turn right now.
Well, and not only did he get the worst draw this morning playing in the wind and the cold, but yesterday afternoon the wind. I mean, that late early wave. They have in playing 36 holes in a 24-hour stretch in those conditions. I mean, it's a lot. I'm sure he's going to get some good sleep tonight.
Raj, when you take a look at the moment that Scottie Scheffler's about to meet, we were talking about it, you and I, a bit on the range. Once the financials are secured, once you know you're capable in these types of moments, legacy is the only thing that you chase. He's trying to defend his Wanamaker. Do you think that Scottie Scheffler engages with any of those ideas, or is he so on task that it's golf swing, analyze, execute?
Yeah, and I think it's just, being the major champion that he is, he understands the mindset that he needs to put himself in to get it done. Somebody that continues to show us that he can get better with each round. And there's just a level of composure that you see even when things aren't going his way. And you know that he's just figuring the golf course out. It really feels like when you watch Scottie, you're watching a boxing match. Mm-hmm. And he's sizing up his opponent, and he's waiting on the PGA of America to make their move, or how they place the pins. He's waiting on Mother Nature to make her move, and then he's waiting for other people to kind of falter because they know he's in the field. I believe that Scottie understands that people respond to him being close, and he uses all of those things to his advantage to get it done coming down the stretch.
Hallie, how do you detail the patience that we see without fail from a Scottie Scheffler? We've been making a big deal this season about the Thursday issues. Not a Thursday issue. Hits the rocks early here on Friday, rights the ship. It does feel like positioning and patience right now has Scheffler ready to do something special once again.
I think patience is, we've heard every player say that, but Scottie definitely said it today. He actually said something really interesting in his post-round presser. He said, you're going to hit some good golf shots that aren't quite good enough, and you're going to get punished severely for it. And I thought that was just so well said for this golf course. But then he said something that was interesting afterwards. He's like, so yeah, it's important to be careful, which is not a word that you hear a lot of the best in the world saying, but I think what he means by careful in this sense is tactical. And we talked about sort of playing chess, and he is just so good at that. So I think, being careful, being tactical, you really have to just plot your way around, and also just kind of like take your medicine sometimes and try to get out of there with a bogey and not make a big number.
Can we throw up Hallie's tight shot again? I'm a little bit taken back. Like the Wanamaker, it looks great.
Oh yeah,
it looks. That's as good as it gets. We have already won. Yeah. It's going to take 36 more holes of golf from Scottie Scheffler or someone else to get the job done. Rory McIlroy re-injecting himself into that potential conversation as well, following a 74 to start. McIlroy trying to right the ship. And Raj, we were having that same conversation down here, and and this guy's hanging laundry on his ball flight, and you said, I don't know how you ever shoot 74 with that, and the numbers followed today.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he had to put his driver in his mouth with some of his sentiments before the tournament started. He kind of revised the driver strategy, and I think put himself in more of a mindset to accept whatever the course is going to throw at him and then score regardless. And I saw him a lot more patient, a lot more reserved today, and putting himself in position to score and keeping those bogeys off the card, man. I mean, it's important.
He only hit 3 more fairways today, but it was this club for me, the putter, that was so much better. He made the crucial par putts when he needed to go around this golf course bogey free. I don't care if the wind's not blowing at all. It is an absolute feat.
I think you could also notice it in the pep in his step. He's had that little signature Rory bounce as well today, which was cool to see.
Well, let's hear it in his own words, because Rory was quite frank about his assessment after Thursday's round. He offered a few more words on Friday.
And one other thing, you characterized your round yesterday with a yes. What would you characterize it today as?
Not as
I mean, how do you not love this guy? Rory McIlroy, a man of few words this week, I guess, but when he does, he illuminates so much. And I think that the playfulness, the enjoyment, it's part of what he detailed after the Masters, Johnson, and that reinvigoration to continue to push his legacy forward.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we're seeing a little bit of rust. We saw him at Quail Hollow last week put 3 really nice rounds together, but had that one bad round Saturday. Maybe he got his bad round out of the way, and that the day one's the time to do it. And he did exactly what he needed to put himself back in position to win this golf tournament, because the guys at the top don't have the experience. He's only 6 shots back. He's going to be out ahead of play, so if the wind picks up a little bit in the afternoon, it's a great opportunity for him to go out and post a number and work his way into one of those final couple groups.
By the numbers, 8 of 14 fairways, 15 of 18 greens, Hallie. There is still room for improvement forward. If he does get those superpowers clicking, can you say there's a number in the head of Rory McIlroy on a Saturday when he's primed to make a move? We don't have the pin locations yet. We hope to have those by the end of the show. But if this is the day to make your hay, what do you think Rory brings to it?
I mean, I think there's got to be an easy 5 under for him there. If he can get that driver under control, we've seen the putter, it's working now. Especially tomorrow, it's going to be a bit warmer. So we could be seeing a completely different situation when it comes to conditions tomorrow.
I'm not sure Rory McIlroy would want anything less than that 65 as he tries to get closer to another one of these. And it hasn't been the PGA Championship Rory McIlroy that we knew, Raj, at the early onset of his career. As he starts to redefine these things that he's identifying as wants, how big do you think that Wanamaker sort of looms in his mind?
I think it really matters to him, but what matters to me, the evolution of Rory, like you're saying, we're not seeing the same champion that we once were. He's smarter now. Even looking at his last Masters, or this past Masters victory, he doesn't need perfect golf to win majors. And I think that that's a confidence that he carries. If he doesn't hit more fairways, I still believe that he knows that he's capable of getting it done. So I'm just excited. I think that 5 under number is a good call, and I'm excited for what's in store for Mr. McIlroy.
You did say easy 5 under. I don't think anybody in this field is going to talk about an easy anything out there. I mean, the greens, they're something.
I think that today could have gone one of 2 ways, though. When you look at McIlroy, there were others in that 74 to 76 range. No names will be offered. We'll get to our cut line here in just a bit. But the fact that McIlroy, to your point, Raj, went out there today and did exactly what was needed to be done. You said about Scottie Scheffler game plan. What did you make of the game plan here on Friday by Rory?
It was just tighter. It was cleaner. It's like you said, he thought he could overpower this golf course, and clearly that was not the right answer.
Rory McIlroy, Scottie Scheffler, all in the conversation as we make the turn here at the halfway mark of the 108th playing of the PGA Championship. Hallie Ledbetter, Roger Steele, Johnson Wagner. Oh yeah, Shane Bacon, the hair bouncing but behaving. I'm told he's getting closer. I don't know if they had him in Delco doing his other responsibilities here at the PGA Championship, but that is a man undeterred as he approaches our scorecard set. We appreciate you joining us here on Scorecard. Quick timeout and more coming your way next. All the emotion of a past champion, and it'll be an emotional scene come Sunday here at Aronimink. A classic club, perhaps another classic champion, as we say hello once again on our Scorecard set live from the PGA Championship. Hey, Shane Bacon, how about that ride in?
Can I just say to the crew that nobody can see right now on camera, about 22 seconds ago, where there were 15 people up here, Johnson, moving stuff around. We had gloves on the Wanamaker, and now it's like this.
We want to say thank you again to Hallie Ledbetter and Roger Steele, who make their way down to the range to give us a range report shortly and have a couple great stories to tell. I'm being told, is that like an Indiana Jones one of one? What's going on with the jacket?
Listen, that's a man that just called golf for 7 straight hours.
Is that Barber?
Just taking a moment, just taking a moment to himself, cruise it in. But
Wags, I know,
happy to be here.
I know you're a solo cart guy. I know you know your way around the grounds. Grade out Shane here on his performance getting here to set. Was that pretty seamless?
I mean, he looks like he's been doing it his entire life. It was beautiful. I saw that. I was going to say something.
You know what though? I just was going to let it. I was letting it go.
I want to know when they powdered you, because you look flawless right now.
Powered in. Real quick, can I say something on Rory? I know you guys were talking about Rory, and you guys were talking glowing about it. I just want to say, one over on the par 5s this week, has yet to make a birdie on the par 5s. I know he played a solid round of golf, but to me, and I watched a lot of it, it could have been a couple shots better. It could have been the number we talked about last night.
Yeah, 65. The over came in, Shane. I'm disappointed.
I know. But I just felt like he did a lot of good things, but it was one of those rounds that I think Rory probably would look back on and say, I could have touched 65 today.
But at the same time, I think the cleanliness of the round, not having any bogeys, making the crucial par putts that he didn't make the day before, I think he's going to be very pleased with the bogey-free 67.
If I recall correctly, a bit of the early week story at the Masters as well. McIlroy doing his scoring elsewhere. We'll see if he can start to clip these 5s on the weekend and do exactly what he did there, what he did here. Other way around. What he did there, what he did here.
You got it.
We'll see if he can win.
I think you nailed it.
Let's get to our round of the day here. That belongs to Chris Gotterup. You said it could have been a 65 for Roars. Well, it was a 65 for a man who goes art first, and it was artistry once again by Gotterup, and once again impressive in the face of a prevailing wind, and a different wind that they saw in the practice round, a different wind that they saw in round 1, and they're going to see a different wind in round 3. This guy had all the answers today, Shane.
And Johnson, something you'll see here, and really it's from the players that had good rounds today, is you see 15 and 20 foot makes, and you don't see that from anybody else. The guys that went low, Gotterup, Hideki, that level of player, Ludwig, made lengthy putts. Everybody else in the field, and Scottie talked about it after his round, really tough to make that 15-footer.
Johnson, this is a guy who has played in one prior PGA Championship 2 years ago back at Valhalla, I believe an MC if I'm not mistaken. Where does he find this sort of confidence? Is this something he gleaned in Scottsdale? Is this something that he took from Hawaii? Is this just the accrual of experience in the moment right now?
Well, I mean, when you look at his college career, he was at Rutgers, he was a phenomenal player. He made the next step up to going to University of Oklahoma for his last year, and then Korn Ferry Tour. He just continually progresses. I think winning in Myrtle Beach his rookie year was huge, and then last year winning with Rory McIlroy at the Scottish Open in the final group in trying conditions, that's where he knew. And then to follow it up the next week at the Open Championship, I think those 2 weeks were massive.
He obviously got off to such a great start this season, and he kind of had that lull really around Bay Hill where he wasn't playing that great level of golf. I mean, he was still making cuts and still finished 25th and 28th, but he shot 65 last week on Saturday, and to me, he shoots 65, shoots 69 in the final round at Quail Hollow, and I think it's propelled him. I think he found something, and I'm sure he's probably talked about that within his camp or even to the media about finding something on that Saturday, because that's the best round he's played in a couple of months, and now doing this on the toughest test.
Shane, I don't think I would be the first this week to call Aronimik an examination of the skill of these players, but if this is an exam, this is more the written section than it is algebra. We're not doing math out there. We're trying to make some literary genius come to light. It's going to take something a little bit more heady. You're not just picking numbers and picking windows. You're shaping shots. How does that sort of play into the ungloved hand of Chris Gotterup?
I mean, a complete opposite of what we thought we were going to see. I mean, even Rory talking about it. I know you guys touched on it earlier, the fact that he said, I'm going to bomb it off the tee. I felt like we saw players, Johnson, today decide to take a little less than driver on certain holes just to get the ball in play. Scottie did that well yesterday on some of the holes. He would still hit driver, but kind of using the spin to get the ball in play. I think this guy has all the tools. We've seen it in all the tournaments he's played in. He's been very consistent. He's an incredibly great player, and the scrambling and the putting kind of has carried him to this point on the leaderboard in a great round today.
There is an advantage to youth that we detailed earlier in this show, or the lack of experience in moments like these. At the halfway mark, Chris Gotterup did what he does on a day like this, and he knows he's 36 holes away from a major distinction that would change the way that we say the name Chris Gotterup. Do you allow your mind to go there if you're young and maybe don't know any better?
you can't really control it from going there. It's going to go there. It's how you react to it afterwards. I had a great sports psychologist for years that says you can't get mad at yourself if you go there with those thoughts. You just have to stop it immediately. The mind can only focus on one thing at a time. So, yes, those thoughts will creep into his mind, but how does he train himself to redirect those thoughts?
All right, you got the psychologist's number? I think there's some players that
I was going to say,
the cut.
I'd like for you to give a dissertation on the matter with literally the trophy over your shoulder.
Yeah, I think Johnson nailed it. I mean, I think all these guys deal with this on a week-to-week basis. I honestly, and Johnson, you can rebuttal here, I'm sure there are nerves on a Saturday to major championship with a chance to win, but these guys are so conditioned to play competitive golf that this is their job. They get into rounds. They expect greatness. And I think on a Saturday for somebody like Chris Gotterup, he'll be nervous on the first tee. He'll probably have moments of nerves. But this is what the guy does, and I expect him to go out tomorrow and probably play a solid round of golf.
The worst part about the nerves in a week like this is the tee times are going to be really late. Yes. And so it's the morning. You know, I always love when people are like, oh, sleeping on the lead's tough. It is not tough sleeping on the lead or near the lead because you're mentally exhausted when you go to bed. The problem is waking up early and where your mind goes before you get out there. And then you're on the range and it starts settling in a little bit. And once you get out on the golf course, it is sort of the respite from it.
So even keel, perhaps the proper approach as we make our way around the turn here at the PGA. If you want even keel, I present to you even keel. Cameron Young making his move as he tries to continue to build his 2026 resume, one of the best in the world right now, world number 3, putting himself back into this conversation and maybe all that's required on a week like this, just to not get too high and not get too low.
And Johnson's not power, not the irons, not all the stuff we've seen from him this year. It is the putter this week, 6th in strokes gained putting this week. Yesterday was par saves, today was the birdies.
For great green readers, these greens are like the most perfect gift to give because you see all these slopes and you can really let your mind go, and it's fun to read like Wingfoot greens and greens that he grew up on, like we talked about earlier. I mean, he grew up on a classic.
It's interesting that you point to that with Cameron Young because earlier this season it was detailed that he's not reading them right now.
Well, and I'm talking about his caddy.
Is
Kyle.
that still the process?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It served him to this point, and the length has continued to be prodigious with that new golf ball, and the results have followed it as well.
This helps if you hit it to like 8 feet on the last and make eagle. I think that helps the situation.
And Johnson, you talked about sleeping on a lead. How does the final 3 strokes that he offered here of his day, how does that change the way he sleeps tonight, knowing that he's sitting at 2 under par, then right there at even water, that he's just shouting distance from the top of this leaderboard right now?
I mean, he has put himself right back in there. I was talking all week about exhaustion level. Well, now that you have the adrenaline of being in the hunt at a major championship, there's no more worried. I'm no longer worried about him running out of energy.
Gets to sleep in, too. He can sleep in. He can sleep in as long as he wants tomorrow.
To borrow from, I think it was like Invoke saying last year or 2 years ago, you're not that guy, pal. There's plenty of players that you could point to in this field, even ones that are in red numbers right now. It's like, I don't know if you're that guy just yet. Cameron Young has all the traits of being one of those guys, and there's no denying that as he sits at world number 3 in the official world golf rankings. But what would it mean to Cameron Young to finally take that step forward?
It's a step. I mean, you're not a major winner until you're a major winner, right? I mean, you haven't got it done until you've got it done. But the fact that he's made these steps this year, and honestly, Johnson, they're leaps this year with what he's done, getting himself in the conversation at Augusta National, winning the Players. These are those appropriate steps that you have to get to a point to where you can finally accomplish the greatest goal in golf, and that is to win a major championship. Right now, I think Cameron Young's probably looking at the leaderboard and went, didn't have it on Thursday, got it around. Didn't quite have it early on Friday and posted a score. Now let's see if I can run on Saturday and Sunday. To your point, kind of avoiding that exhaustion that maybe came earlier in the week.
And he also has tons of major championship experience of being in the hunt. The way he played at St. Andrews in 22, the way he played at Southern Hills, Oakmont last year. Like, he's been that guy with that sort of skill set since he came on to the PGA Tour as a rookie. I mean, he has major championship qualities.
I've been lucky enough to do some work this week on CBS Sports HQ alongside Michael Breed and Mark Immelman, 2 of our swing doctors of sorts, and they both told me the same thing on Thursday, that the swing looked a little bit out of sorts for Cameron Young. To reroute and sort of identify and alter what needs to be changed in the midst of a major championship, how hard is that, Johnson, for these guys to identify an issue, change it, and apply it some 12 to 16 hours later.
Well, what's great when you're in a flow like he is right now with his golf game, his dad's out pretty much every week, who's his instructor. I mean, they probably have 2 or 3 different little swing thoughts. When a golf swing's always, it's like a scale. When you think you go one way, you've got to rebalance it the other. And so I'm sure they were minor differences and clearly was not an issue at all.
A quick fix for Cameron Young gets him back into the mix. We'll hear more from the Young family coming up here on Scorecard. Another family affair, the son of a PGA professional in the form of Justin Thomas, who has himself a nice day as well, sitting 2 under par. Finished strong here, and I think most interesting to me in JT's day was some palms to the sky, Shane, after being put on the clock with Keegan Bradley. Didn't love that being assessed, but we've seen him eject due to less this season. The fact that he stayed in the fight after that tells you what.
I mean, even the shot you saw out of the bunker there, I mean, he was in the middle of the fairway. I believe that was on the 6th hole, dead center of the fairway, hits an awful wedge shot in the bunker. That ball doesn't come out, kind of comes down the slope in that rough, able to get that up and down and save bogey. And to me, those are those moments, to your point, Joe, where JT in the past, maybe that's a double, maybe bogey's the next hole, maybe bogey's the next, and all of a sudden he's shooting 75. He held it together really well today.
What impressed you most, Johnson, about what he was able to pull off today and get right back into shouting distance of this lead?
I think for me with JT, we always know how good his wedge play is. His iron play can be high level. It's the putting that's been so inconsistent, and I think on these greens, hole-in-the-ones, and I know I keep saying it, but it's what these guys have to do. You have to make those momentum par putts.
I know I might be obsessing about the trophy a little bit, which probably tells you more about my childhood than
You can't
than
take
I
it.
should.
They will not let you take it.
I'm just mad that it's in your single. I'm mad that you got it solo.
Okay, we'll move it next break.
As we take a look here at Justin Thomas's scorecard here on Scorecard, it's a 69. A 2 under number as he has now stacked 1 under par rounds, one on top of another, and takes another step towards what would be, Shane, a third Wanamaker.
Well, I mean, and honestly, if you think about it, I mean, you fellas, we've talked about this. This is a little like what happened the last time he won the PGA. Was not playing great golf. He was playing fine golf. I mean, but it was a little out of nowhere, and he kind of took control of it over the weekend, and then obviously played great on Sunday to get in that playoff. But I feel like JT's looking at this leaderboard thinking to himself, I have an opportunity because look who's ahead of me.
Let's hear him put it to words. Hallie Ledbetter caught up with JT post-round.
JT, great playing 2 bogeys in your first 3 holes, but you go on to birdie 13, which is playing over par today. How big was that birdie for the rest of the round?
It was. Probably looking back at it, it was huge and getting. I mean, it's so hard to make birdies when it's playing like it did this morning and yesterday. That every one it's huge, especially with the leaderboard being how it is. So, was able to kind of keep my head on straight and keep calm, and that birdie definitely helped with my patience and looking forward.
It's very apparent now how difficult this golf course is. But if I would have told you on Monday that the scores are what they are, would you have believed me?
Definitely not. I think, but at the same time, I don't think anybody thought it was going to be like this, be this cold and this windy. I mean, this wind yesterday and today, it honestly reminds me a little of like Southern Hills. I mean, the wind that we had the first 2 days there, I can't remember even Open Championships of that consistent, like strong, brutal wind for 2 days. And yeah, when you get greens this fast and this severe and pins like this, it's just it's really, really, really hard, and it's hard to make birdies.
2 Wanamaker trophies already in your possession. What is the game plan to get that third this weekend?
Just see what the course kind of brings me. I think that's what I've done a great job the first 2 days is understanding it's playing difficult and not forcing the issue. And if the course is set up a little easier, if we have less wind, whatever it may be, and scoring's lower, it's obviously going to change a little bit. But not really sure exactly what you're going to get, and I just have to kind of stick to my game plan and do my thing.
Good luck. Thanks for the time.
Johnson, we hear JT offer those thoughts, and I know your sports psychologist told you not to think of future wins. Going to past wins has got to do something for you. He points to Southern Hills. What's that tell you about the mentals?
I think the psychologist would be very happy with that comment for JT right there. And I think these guys, I think everybody in the field is going to be met with a golf course that's more playable this weekend. simply for the fact that the temperature is going to go up, the ball's going to be going a lot further, and it's going to make a huge difference. So I think we're going to see somebody make a run, and I think we possibly a couple 65s, if not lower tomorrow.
I think tomorrow at about 9:30 in the morning, you're going to have an idea of how this golf course is going to play, because I think tees will be moved up. I think we're going to see some of those par 4s that'll be drivable. I think the par 5s are still going to be gettable, and I think you're going to see tomorrow the scoring day. Sunday, I think we'll go back to playing difficult. It's going to be very warm over the weekend, especially on Sunday, but I think tomorrow there's going to be so much opportunity, and for JT, why not take it if nobody else is going to?
All right. We got to get to more highlights here, and I think, fellas, I might have to recuse myself from this one after the can't win conversation from a day ago.
I think he's my pick.
He was getting close to dunking on me.
He's my
he's
pick,
your pick
right now.
So
I really like the way Rahm has been playing.
It's just impressive because it was not clean. I mean, he had to fight for everything these first 2 days.
Shane, he's your pick, and I put him on my cross-off list. Are we riding together tomorrow? I didn't.
No, we can talk. We'll discuss it. Maybe we'll talk about it on the ride home.
40 minutes to hash this out.
And again, you and I, listen, we talked about it. We were driving home last night, Johnson. This is how big of nerds Musso and I are. We were driving home last night looking up Rahm's finishes in majors away from the victories. Mm-hmm. Hasn't really been in contention at a major he hasn't won. When you really dive into the numbers, he's finished in the 3rd and 4th position, but those are majors he's finished 4 or 5 shots back. Outside of the 2 victories, they were very impressive. He really has not been that great in the majors. He's played solid golf, but not really had a chance to win on Sunday. I think Rahm is the player tomorrow I'm looking at to go shoot that 65, be maybe in the penultimate pairing on Sunday, and have a real shot.
I mean, it's this shot here. We're watching the replay of 16. Like, that's an uncomfortable tee shot for someone who fades it, but we can't be seeing that out of
the double cross is not going to help.
Johnson, when you look at this scorecard, is it a case of perspective and going home and saying, hey, I'm right where I need to be, or do you think there's a little bit of, man, I could have squeezed more out of that round than Jon Rahm did?
Well, I mean, golfers are never happy. Yeah. And then there's only one golfer that's happy that leaves every week. Well, maybe 2 with Ben Kern making the cut this week.
All right. Shane Bacon unofficially lobbing his pick, what feels like over the bow.
Well, you look at what's the real leaderboard, and I look at this real leaderboard. No offense to the guys atop the board right now, but I look at the players that I think have a legitimate chance at winning this golf tournament, and I look at Rahm 2 or 3 shots back of that number.
Johnson, how do you look at his role in the story to be told this weekend?
It's all going to depend on that front 9 tomorrow. I mean, we've talked all week about the front 9 being the better opportunity for scoring. If he goes out a little bit ahead, I think a name like his going up the leaderboard would have a Scheffler effect, a Rory effect. There's very few guys that players take notice of, especially players that are at the top right now. They'll see that name and it'll do something.
Anything in those low 70s here on Friday at the PGA Championship you can certainly live with. Some needed to make bigger moves and some moved the wrong way as we take a look at some notable golfers to miss the cut. Bryson DeChambeau birdied his last 3, so I got that going for me, which is nice.
How about, real quick, how about Blocky and notables?
I know you wanted to go straight
Blocky
to
on notables, and I promise you this, Garrick Higgo's going to take more out of this, probably financially and beyond, for the late tee time on Thursday. I mean, he's not on notables if he doesn't have that happen to him on Thursday.
He's recouping losses.
A Swatch sponsorship.
Yeah.
You know what? Some watch company call him, send us one as well. I mean, get involved massively into the Higgo world.
Your biggest disappointment heading into the weekend here?
I don't really think I have one. I mean, I would like to see more of the top players at the top, but Ludwig was my pick at the beginning of the week, and he came back. I think my biggest takeaway, though, is how many players shot over par yesterday and fought back, like Gotterup did, like Ludwig, Rory, like some of the big names Cam Young that we talked about earlier in the week. They're making a run. This is my kind of golf. 4 under par leading. This is how I want to see my major championships go.
How about the back-to-back majors these players are going to face? This and then Shinnecock next month at the U.S. Open. It's just going to beat their brains in. I mean, this is major championship golf right now at its best. This golf course, if the PGA of America has an open date soon, they should lock this golf course up again.
It's going to be scary at Shinnecock. It could be scary here on the weekend at Aronimink as well. We got plenty more scorecard coming up, presented by Zyrtec. As our team on the range is not on the range, I think we got a putting contest coming up on 18 green. We're gonna detail some of the humps and bumps that they may see coming out of the weekend here at the PGA. Stay put. More scorecard next.